With the 130th pick in the fourth round, the Vikings select James Lynch from Baylor, a defensive end in their 3-4 system. He wears jersey number 93. And recently, John Randall, the Hall of Famer John Randall, has publicly endorsed Lynch, loves this guy, loves that the Vikings got him, and again, feels like the Vikings got tremendous value. The first thing that I noticed watching some of his game tape, he's a brick S house. I would love to emphasize the real word, but because this is kid friendly, he's a brick S house. He's slippery. He's still able to get to the quarterback. He is sturdy. He's very strong. I think that he needs to work on his length with his arms and creating separation with his hands. But he's a beast, man. He's fun to watch because he's just kind of methodical. He's hard to move. You can see these big offensive linemen have a hard time going against him. And even though I think he's playing out of position in college, I think he's more of a 4-3-3 technique, which the Vikings may use him at. He was still the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year last year. So really, really productive there for Baylor. So this first play is against Texas. You'll see him on the left side of your screen. And this just emphasizes, I think, how hard he is to move. So he's going to try to split between the offensive tackle and the tight end in that C gap. And you can see it's a decent contact by the tight end to try to get in and wash him down. But he never really loses course. He never gets pushed off his course and off his line. And there's a little bit of an aid with his right hand on the offensive tackle to sort of stop the wash going down. But the thing that I like about him at 290 pounds, see how athletic he is to spin off that guy, feel the pressure, feel the energy of being pushed down, and knows that he can trust himself for the quick spin. Nice job with his right elbow to pin himself against the body of the tight end. See how tight that spin is? If you're going to spin, you don't want to spin and give up ground. You want to spin basically in the same spot. You want to kind of pirouette. It's more of a pirouette than it is a spin, but it only works if you can wrap that right elbow around, much like a basketball player in the post. So using that elbow to pin the defender, and then you can spin off of that, and he does a tremendous job. Nice job just getting to the quarterback and feeling all that. Second play against Georgia. Okay, you're going to see him on the right hand of the screen. More often than not, in this scheme, he was the right defensive end as opposed to the left defensive end, oftentimes going against, obviously, the left tackle. This play is all power. He's like a freaking runaway locomotive on this play. Nice get off, decent punch. Again, awesome finish, right? So let's back this up. The punch, it's good. It's okay. Like he has a nice like headbutt enough to get the offensive tackle to sort of rock back on his heels and keep his momentum going forward. Now, here's the thing with the separation that I talk about. He doesn't have really long arms, so that's why I think going against offensive tackles, he's going to be outmatched in the NFL. He can't re-engage because the offensive tackle creates that separation, so he can't even get his arms to go out and punch again and extend. But it doesn't matter because as long as he's connected to the offensive tackle, he's going to just keep pushing. So this is just all legs and lower body. He doesn't even really use his arms. He just continues to move the guy out of the way and finish on the quarterback. And again, it's another example of it's not the sexiest like pass rushing moves you've ever seen, but when he gets his 290 pounds moving in one direction, his feet rarely stop, and he's awfully, awfully hard to stop. So back to the Texas game, where Texas had a hard time stopping Lynch as just a single blocker against a single rusher. So on this particular play, as he's standing up as an outside linebacker, they're going to use a guard, and the center is going to come over to help as well, and to no avail once again. So here's the play in its entirety. You can see him get to the quarterback. He beats two guys. So how'd he get there? Well, again, he's a hard guy to move. Not a great punch, not great with the hands. That has to improve. But he does just enough to pin his outside left hand up against the outside upfield shoulder of the offensive guard. So he sort of gets to the man's edge. You always want to get to the edges of offensive linemen or any blocker. So he gets to the edge, gets skinny enough by giving up that right shoulder, and see how his hips kind of turned right there? He's getting skinny through the hole. So now he defeats one. Here comes the center trying to help out. Well, guess what? Because he's got such a skinny surface area, it's hard to get both hands on him. And he does enough to rip that loose right arm that was just given up so he could get skinny. Then he rips through with force up underneath the armpit and the shoulder pad of the center. He steps through with a strong posted left leg, and then right knee fires through to kind of clear his way to the quarterback. Sturdy, man. He's sturdy. He's slippery, that James Lynch. Well, normally I save the best for last, right? That's kind of what we do. We set everything up and you save the best for last. Well, play number 4 and 5 really go together. They're kind of married together. This Kansas State game, Lynch was pretty boring for about 2.5 quarters. Then you get later in the game, and as most pass rushers do, they hold on to their counter moves. They don't show everything in the first and second quarters because if you need to show it at a critical situation in the game, that's when you pull it out. And that's what I like about this 4th play as it leads into the 5th play. Again, he's the right defensive end going against Scott France, the left tackle. And all game long, very boring, up the field sort of speed rushes. And here's where the counter moves come in. See how easy that is? When you play the game of chess on the field, and you're setting things up and you get the tackle to kick out, lazy kick out, thinking, all right, well, all game long, he's just been going out and up the field. So he kicks out. He has a nice little hand swipe, quick inside move. The center tries to come over to help as well, to no avail. Nice strong left arm to kind of get off me. He feels that from the center. He's get off me. And he keeps his knees and his hips always going to the quarterback. Smart player, that James Lynch. I just mentioned play 4 and play 5 work together. They're married together because I wanted to show you guys the mental approach. How pass rushers sometimes will be very boring in the first half of a football game, only to set up in critical situations some of their counter moves. You saw that with his inside move. Now, this is later in the game in the 4th quarter. Scott France, the left tackle for Kansas State, has seen both now. He knows that he's got the outside speed rush, and now he knows he can counter back with the inside. So now it becomes the mind game. On any particular play, what is he going to do? What is Lynch going to give me? Now I have to be prepared now for inside moves, and this is what I love about Lynch's reaction. So France this time does not kick out super wide. He's not very aggressive, thinking he's going to get an outside rush, because he's got to protect the inside part of the pass rush. That's the fastest and the closest way to get to the quarterback is the inside move. So he short sets, thinking that he's going to get an inside move. So Lynch feels that, and what's he do? Quick hands, eyes up at the quarterback, and right around the left shoulder of the offensive tackle. Look how quick and decisive that is. That is a pre-planned move, and even if it's not, it's beautiful because of how quick he can react. So when Hall of Famer John Randall says that he publicly endorses James Lynch, after watching the film, I completely understand why. I get more excited about this guy because he was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year as a 5-technique rusher against offensive tackles, where I think he's going to be even better as a 3-technique going against offensive guards and centers. I like the way he approaches the run game. I didn't show you a lot of the run game stuff, but he's disruptive. He can get after the passer. He's got to work on some of that length using his arms a little bit better. But overall, a thick, sturdy, strong, slippery, and disruptive player, that James Lynch. So if you don't know, now you know.